first time in history, all 4 belts in the cruiserweight division will belong proudly around the waist of one man.
Like, when you're 24-0, you really have to be challenging for world titles, in my opinion. Selby, as soon as that Selby-Warrington fight takes place, they'll call a final eliminator, which will be Kid Galahad versus someone, and then no one can avoid him. He's not really the guy. I mean, look, if I had a featherweight world champion, I wouldn't choose Kid Galahad as a voluntary defence. You know, he's awkward, he hits hard, he's clever, so why would you? And he's good. So he's like one to avoid. So when that happens, as was the case with Kell Brook, we had to go out and become the mandatory.
And then when he won it, none of the other guys wanted to fight him.
So and then it takes a while. Like, it could be, I don't want to dishearten him, but it could be 10 or 12 months before he challenges for the world title if we don't get a voluntary defence. But that's all right as long as he's busy, and as long as he's in fights that aren't going to make him stale and are going to keep him relevant in people's minds, because that's the key really. And I said that same applies to the Gavin McDonald EFI. Everyone's scrapping for relevance in British boxing, and if you're not prepared to take the tough fights, you're going to be forgotten about, or you're going to be brushed aside by the broadcaster. Because it's dog eat dog out there at the moment. Everybody's trying to put on the best shows, and when you deal with a fighter again like Gavin, Barry's exactly the same. He don't care who he fights now. He's 24-0. Put me in with anyone. That's the attitude. So it's quite nice to be able, you know, there's not anyone that I would say to Dom him and he'd say no. So really it's about fighting the right guy, and I would like to find a real, you know, I mean, Denaire obviously is fighting Frampton, but a name like that for Barry next, before challenging for a final eliminator, would be really nice. And you know, he's ready to go. He's always in the gym, always working hard, but you know, he must fight for a world title.
Could we get him on that Mabel in Liverpool? We can sell tickets in Liverpool.
Well, Kell Brook's fighting in June, so you'll be on that one.
Oh, okay.
Barry, you've had an emphatic knockout tonight, but is there any element at this point in your career where you feel like you do still need the rounds under as well, because you know you stepped up at every level, you've proved yourself every time you step up, you've never really been in the trenches yet. Is that something that you need or something that you don't need?
I've done 12 rounds a few times, so I know what it's like to do 12 rounds, and the style I've got, you don't really need to go in the trenches, you know. And if I do have to go in the trenches, I'll always come out on top, because I'm always in the gym and I'm always on it.
Do you agree with that about rounds in the bank?
He's done the rounds though. He's done European title fights in 12 rounds. He's done 12 rounds in a British title fights. You know, this round thing is like, it's all right. The first time you have to do 12 rounds, it gets you worried. But when you've done your 12 rounds, you know it's down to everything else. And like I say, you know, in this game, you know, and you can't emphasise enough. Look at Gavin McDonald today. He's been at the higher level. And he's done 12 rounds, and he did 12 rounds at a breeze. He's been trained up at Sheffield University. He's got that fitness. Barry's the same. You know, you don't need to be sparring 12 rounds. You don't need to be fighting 12 rounds to do 12 rounds. It's the mental aspect of it. You know, some people just think that they can't get through 12 rounds. So you know, it's never been a problem for Barry. He trains for 12 rounds every single time. You know, the way he's in the gym, he's never out. It's a full-time job for Kid Guy. It's a 40-hour week for him training. So you know, forget about the rounds. What he actually needs, like I've said to Eddie for time and time again, you know, just he'll stick him with anybody. He's not going to say no. And we've never said no. If Eddie said, what about this, what about that? You know, if the chance comes up, the opponent was boxing Scott Quigg. Eddie goes, if Scott Quigg doesn't want to take that fight, will Barry take it? I went, yeah, and he'll go to America and do it. Because that's where he's at, 28. He's not a young spring chicken and he can't afford to wait around. And at 24 and 28 years old, you can't be unpicking your fights. You've got to jump in and, you know, take the bull by the horns. So that's where Barry's in. And if Eddie says to me, we've got him a world title fight, and it's in China or Japan we're going. You know what I mean? We've been to Canada with Billy Joe Saunders. We went to America with Kell Brook. If you can fight, it don't matter where you are in the world. Do you understand? You can fight. It's full stop. You don't need the home advantage. You just need the 4 ropes and a ring to get in and do it.
And you've worked with lots of world champions. What can Barry achieve?
Yeah, he's got what it takes. You know, he's got what it takes to be world champion. You know, we've got a good thing going at the minute. We've got some good kids in the gym. You know, Barry's training alongside of him. We've seen Billy Joe Saunders turn himself around. I think that motivated Kell Brook. And, you know, Barry's looking at them two and thinking, oh, when's it my chance? I can't wait. I hope I don't miss the ball. Because there's always that sense. And I think even with Billy Joe Saunders, that he got to the point at 28 years old, and he's thinking, I've missed the ball. You know, I might as well jack him while he just turned himself around in 6 months. Same with Kell. You know, Kell's, you know, you can't, you know, people have a go at Kell Brook. He's lost 2 fights back to back, but he's never turned down a fight. He boxed Golovkin, he boxed Errol Spence. you know, and I think that's what's cheesing him off about anything. You know, he was beating Errol Spence. If he'd have turned the fight off after 6 rounds, Kell Brook was winning that fight. It's only the injury and the hailing, you know, Errol Spence as the next Messiah. And you know, he's a good fighter, but you know, Kell Brook is tonight. Who's ever knocked Rabchenko out in 2 rounds? And this is not a kid who's had 2 weeks' notice. He's had 10, 12 weeks' notice. Plenty of notice. He's lost 2 fights at the top level. So you know, Kell tonight, he's pulled that peach of a shot out, the chocolate brownie, and he was all over. You know, it's. You know, he has a tendency to do that to Russian guys, doesn't he? But tonight, you can see, and that will give him confidence, you know, for the next 12 months. He knows what he's got to do now. Eddie's had a good talk to him. Everybody's had a good talk to him. Next 12 months, he's got to be on it. He's got to be taking it serious. He has done, but he's got to start thinking about, you know, putting in the performances now.
What about the old Ingle gym at the moment, eh?
Yeah, you have your
Shafiq.
You have your peaks and troughs in boxing. You know, you can't always be riding the crest of a wave. If you understand that, the only certain thing about boxing is the uncertainty. You know, Dave Allen tonight, another. You know, you just feel for the guy, don't you? I just hope he don't go away and you know, pack it all in and get yourself a milk round or something, because you know he's got the ability. And tonight he looked like he was turning up, and you know, you couldn't write it, could you? So you know, boxing's exciting at the minute. If you put the work in, you get the results.
Right, guys.
In history, all 4 belts in the cruiserweight division will belong proudly around the waist of one man.